G'day, I'm Andrew Marshall with the Northern Australia Climate Program at the University of Southern Queensland, and this is a short summary of the Bureau of Meteorology's climate outlook for Queensland for the weeks and months ahead, issued on the 26th of September 2024. So we'll take a look at the rainfall outlooks to begin with, starting with the outlook scenarios. This is the rainfall totals that have a 75% chance of occurring for your region. Now, looking ahead to the 3 months from October to December, as we move into the wet season for Northern Australia, we're seeing a 75% chance of up to about 25 millimetres of rain for parts of southwestern Queensland and up to about 100 millimetres for central regions, increasing to more than 200 millimetres for parts of the far east and north. And if you'd like to drill a little deeper into the forecast, you can use this magnifying glass feature where you can specify a location and a little box appears which breaks the forecast down into the chance of different rainfall amounts occurring. And this will give you an idea of how conditions are likely to be compared to the historical median. Just ask your local climate mate to go through this with you in more detail. Now, taking a quick look at the Bureau's outlook for the northern rainfall onset issued on the 29th of August, and this is the last issue of the northern rainfall onset forecast for the coming wet season. And much of Queensland has a 60 to 75% chance of an earlier than usual onset. And now let's look at temperatures, and the differences from average here for maximum temperature show warmer conditions across much of northern and eastern Queensland and cooler conditions elsewhere for the week of the 1st to the 7th of October. And for the following week, from the 8th to the 14th, we're expecting warmer than average conditions across the state. And here the average is calculated over the 1981 to 2018 period for this time of year. For minimum temperatures, we're looking at warmer than average conditions for much of Queensland over the next 2 weeks. Now, looking at the chance of extremes map for the 3 months from October to December, we're seeing an elevated chance of unusually warm days and nights across most of Queensland. And by unusually warm, we mean the highest 20% of historical temperature records for this time of year based on the 1981 to 2018 period. Now, these long-range forecasts are influenced by several climate factors, so let's have a quick look at the latest climate driver update from the Bureau. And the El Nino Southern Oscillation is currently neutral, with 3 of the 7 climate models that the Bureau surveys suggesting the possibility of La Nina conditions from October. The remaining 3 are in the neutral range, but close to the La Nina threshold. And if a La Nina does develop in the coming months, it's likely to be relatively weak and short-lived. And remember that signs of La Nina are most relevant to the climate of the tropical Pacific region, and that the long-range forecasts for Australian rainfall and temperature provide better guidance for local climate. Now, the Indian Ocean Dipole, or the IOD, is neutral. Most climate models suggest the IOD is likely to remain neutral, but slightly negative for the rest of the year. Also keep in mind that IOD forecast skill is typically low at this time of year, beyond about 2 months ahead. As for our other climate drivers, the Madden-Julian Oscillation, or the MJO, is currently over the central to eastern Pacific region with moderate strength, but it is forecast to weaken in the week ahead. And finally, the Southern Annular Mode, or the SAM, is forecast to be negative over the next week before returning to neutral in early October. Finally, turning to the pasture growth outlook from long paddock for the 3 months from September to November, we're expecting to see varying amounts of pasture growth returning to northern, central and eastern parts of the country in response to the expected rainfall in the months ahead. As always, for more information and updates, visit the Bureau's climate pages at bom.gov.au/climate. And if you have any questions about recent conditions or the use of weather and climate forecasts, please reach out to your local climate mate. You can read more about the Northern Australia Climate Program at nacp.org.au. See you next month.